Lodged between rows of crystalline rock, a large fragment of metal protrudes. It looks as though it might be possible to pry it loose. Well, pull it out then. With your touch, the splinter of metal begins to glow orange. Heat surges up your hands and arms and envelops you with such intensity you feel as though you are melting down. Heat spreads to the world around you, turns it orange and then yellow and then white. Around the sky, everything around you drips in molten globs, begins to take shape beneath you. An invisible mold. You and the shard are the last things to melt and fall. And your addition to the molten pool completes the shape of an immense hammer. The metal cools as quickly as it had heated. The handle is gripped now by two great leathery hands, and the hammer is cocked back over a shoulder as broad and mottled as a hilltop. The wielder whirls around and heaves the hammer. You are flying upward, for what seems like ages, into the airless blackness above. As you spin, you catch glimpses of a rock large enough to be a moon. It is close, far too close to the world. The force of the impact shatters hammer and stone alike. The rock is redirected outward, but a section of the front face is cleaved off and begins to fall, splintering apart at the cracks. 100,000 fragments blossoming outward in all directions. Debris showers the atmosphere, trading smoke and fire. Below, land and sea are far off, but gradually rising up. Look at the sea. The largest of the fragments, wide as a city, barrels downward into a fiery cocoon. Its size reduces as the edges immolate, but it won't burn up in time. The land silent in the distant ocean, sending a column of water skyward, radiating ripples spread like wrinkles in fabric. And a sound comes rearing up through the sky. It sounds like thunder. Look to the land. Features are becoming clearer by the moment you streak toward the earth. You're lodged in an enormous boulder, falling among other smaller fragments that heat and burst around you on all sides. Beneath you, snow-capped mountains rise up, dotted here and there by cities of stone and Ardra. The impact will be the destruction of all of them. Shadow, your rock fragment, is visible now, getting larger by the second. You're moments away from striking the ground when a massive shape throws itself into your path. The last thing you hear sounds like another rumbling impact. That isn't what it is. It's a chuckle. Relieved, breathless, you hear two words. Made it. Just like, yeah, boy, did it, did good. Everything goes dark. You go open your eyes. The metal hammer fragment has come free. You now hold it in your hands. It is warm to the touch. The air around you is suddenly turbulent, spiteful. A cold, damp wind wisps your face. Salt crystals collect in your nostrils and creases of your eyes. Flow below you becomes blue-gray and glassy, churning and rolling, and when you fall, you crash through water. Violent waves hurl and spin you. Something slithers around your ankles, seizes you with incredible strength, and drags you down into silvery depths. When the pulling stops, you're hovering at the center of an endless blue abyss. You see neither surface nor floor. You seem to be facing downward, but there's no way to be sure. A voice sounds from everywhere at once, an immense pressure wave. Each utterance sends you reeling.
Deceitful wretch! Grave robber! You who dig for that which you did not bury, speak! Explain yourself and be judged.
We're quitting French. Yeah, sure. Insulting a goddess is probably a good idea. To start off with. I seek a means of defeating an army that threatens my lands. No, I don't want to defend them.
You seek what is mine! What was rightfully lost!
Yep, it propels you, sending you end over end. Like, whee!
Your actions speak for themselves. The battery opened. The forge ignited.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at what I'm doing.
You showed mercy to souls that evaded my judgment. Secured them to the battery's defenses. Mercy was not yours to give.
Well, screw you, bitch.
The dwarves sealed their own fate. The forge was meant to be forgotten.
Woo-hoo-hoo, cry me a fucking river.
And now, here you are again, denying peace to the buried.
Bitch, please, do you know how many people I've murdered to get here? The turbulence around you calms. Still settles like a slow exhalation. That vast dark seascape beyond the murk fades in. Rays of light trickle down from far above onto green gold columns of kelp that rise from the depths and sway back and forth in the current. Fish and mollusks patrol them in groups of hundreds and thousands. They nearest past you with watchful eyes. What do you mean the forge is meant to be
It was
forgotten?
never meant for mortal use. Such power, such truths lie within it. It can bring only ruin.
Well, maybe next time put a sign out.
When the Pargrunen came to the White March, they were peaceful. They shared common beliefs and purpose. Their visions for the Forge tore them apart. You have seen this for yourself.
I have indeed.
They would have destroyed themselves in the end.
How convenient that we'll never know.
You need only look to the history of your own civilization for assurance.
Yeah, but you know.
How many wars, how many fallen empires might have been averted if only their leaders could forget the objects of their
Yeah,
ambition.
but then we wouldn't fucking be humans. We'd be fucking machines going for the most efficient path.
I mourned the loss of the Pargrunen. Misfortune brought them here. They did not deserve to end so soon.
The army that destroyed the dwarves, the Eyeless, are they yours?
What the world casts aside, I take into my care. A thing may be forgotten, but it is never alone as long as I am here.
That does not answer my
They
question.
were lost children, abandoned, fixed on a purpose that no longer had meaning.
That answered my question.
I took them in, gave them new purpose. I did not create them, but yes, they are mine.
No, they are not. They are Abidans.
They were his once. I won't deny it. He created them as assistants to carry
See?
out his work on Eora. But he has long been the overseer of progress in the world. Leaving things behind has always been his way. I allow him to leave his past in my care, so that it does not hold him back.
How
Speak
about you
your
also?
mind.
You haven't given me the whole truth about the Eyeless, have you? Oh, I'm gonna be
Careful
smarter.
what you accuse a god of, mortal.
Bitch, please, I am intelligent. The water around you is suddenly icy. You can feel it zap the heat from your veins. But we are intellect 14. Abaddon didn't abandon those creatures. You might even forget them. Otherwise he might remember how he died.
And what if I did, mortal? It does him no harm to forget. On the contrary, it lifts a burden. If Abaddon remembered, it would threaten the harmony between the gods. It was not so long ago that conflict between us led to disaster in your world, and the death of one of our number.
Well, boo-hoo-hoo. One of you died. How many millions of mortals died?
Memory is but an
I don't even want
image
to
we
know.
create to make sense of the present. It carries no truth or meaning but what we ascribe.
Oh, for fuck's sake, woman. Do you want me to ramble on and on about how fucking important memories and shaping your view on the fucking present?
A slight alteration to it is a small price to pay for peace.
Well, as you know, it is wrong to deceive him. I expected better from a god.
Memory deceives. It distorts.
It does
it
fucking not.
reimagines. This is no different.
Sure, your perspective on things change. Over your memories, over time, surely. But that is normal.
The peace between the gods is already fragile. It will not withstand another shock.
Well, let me ask
You may
something else.
ask.
What are the bones of one god doing sealed in the temple of another?
Do not play coy with a god, Watcher. I know you have seen his death. I feel it whenever a forgotten thing is taken from me.
I didn't take that. I kind of got it pretty much unasked.
Abidin did not deserve to die here. This place, it was the least I could do to give his remains some privacy.
The least you could do.
The least I could do for ending his life.
Light drains from your surroundings. The kelp forest becomes a corpse of black tendrils, stark and twisted as regret.
I called the moon down to me, Ioni brother. It was against his wishes. He would not listen to reason. Would not listen to me.
And you wonder why, you know, people are like, you can't argue with women. She quite literally called the fucking moon down.
In his madness, he splintered the moon. But it was not enough. The greatest of the fragments still fell toward that which he would protect.
See, previous point, you quite literally called a fucking moon down on his work. Like, he basically, you know, you have a couple, and the boy's like, I'm going to play with my toy cats and my little toy soldiers. Now the woman's like, boom, destruction. Just look at me, not your toys.
In the end, he took position where it would fall, and absorbed the impact himself.
I thought Belleferent called it with the
The only
moons.
brother is their smaller sibling, tiny next to them.
Well, not any longer, I guess. Smart enough that the world would survive its impact. Still, you know. But why the temple? Why the secrecy?
That time has been forgotten now, and so his death belongs to me. Everything he was before the impact.
You slew him as a god. Surely the other gods know this. Surely Abaddon must know. Current surges through the kelp bed, pushing each plant sideways like saplings in a hurricane, and propelling you backwards amidst a ton of wayward fish.
No! He cannot know! He must never know!
Oh, I see, I found your weak point.
Understand, he was not always as he is now. His body was not all he left
Yeah,
behind.
probably you'll remember a lot of cool things once, you know.
He was devoted to progress and industry from the beginning. But so too was he devoted to preservation. In those times he would let nothing go. Nothing could be forgotten. His will was iron long before his body.
What was he trying to preserve?
Time has finished much of what I started. I cannot tell you that, mortal, for fear of undoing all its costly work.
Preservation, so that's why he went so far to oppose
We
you.
agreed long ago, all of us, not to alter the course of Kith's civilization. Not directly. Not unless there were no other choice. But in
Okay.
this matter, there was no other choice. He understood that as well as anyone. It was for duty that he opposed it. I would have stopped it if I could, but by then it was too late.
You make it sound as though you were the same
The
one.
other gods knew what had to be done, but they lacked the will to go through with it. Even gods have their attachments.
And at that very moment you admitted that your gods are just mortals with a lot more power at your disposal. You're not wiser, and you're not smarter. You're doing the same fucking nonsense as every bloody mortal does. And still you claim to be so much more. Such bloody hypocrisy.
To erase all knowledge of such a grand thing required unthinkable devastation. The Eastern Reach, Deadfire. Mine was the only solution. When I called down Ione Brother, they remained silent. Even Abaddon. He knew it was for the best.
No, he was probably shocked that his fucking girlfriend decided to destroy his toys.
But he tried to stop it all the same. Perhaps deep down I knew he would. I should have expected it.
Yeah, he surely should
I could have
have.
stopped it.
I always love it. So much for the power of the gods. Bitches, all of
You
them.
may ask.
So what does it matter if something is remembered or forgotten? It's in the past in either case.
Memories are the spirits of the past. You of all people should know their sway on the present, Watcher.
Well, perhaps more than I'd care to admit.
Mortals measure the worth of their lives in memory. Who will remember me? How long until I am forgotten?
Yeah, kinda how we are. By
Memory
nature.
governs every thought, informs every choice. It can fuel passion, understanding, love, or it can create obsession, madness.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about this, but then again, that's not just, memory. You can create love and passion from seeing something for the first time and be feeling somewhat interested
You
in
have
it.
seen it plague many souls in your travels.
Mm-hmm.
Consider the old Watcher who inherited unspeakable crimes from birth. Or the young woman who committed herself to Brackenbury for love of things she remembered she had. Or the fisherman whose life became a sentence the day he killed his sister? Or the
So what?
Glonfathen boy for whom an old medallion was worth more than all the fruits of his labors? They could be free from their burdens, if only they could forget.
Their problems go way deeper than just memory. Simply forgetting does not make them
For
go
some,
away.
perhaps. But for many, the memory is all that remains of it.
Yeah, and taking that struggle away means completely eradicating fucking part of their personality.
The fires of Cold Morn died long ago, yet vengeance still burns in this construct's mind.
Yeah, and that is what keeping her alive.
What is vengeance but a fire fueled by memory that consumes the soul?
A fun way to kill time?
Good point.
Cold Morn is not but a memory now. If it no longer intruded on her thoughts, no longer haunted her dreams, she could live a life of her choosing.
Cold Morn is part of her identity now. It gives her purpose.
So often do we confuse memory with identity.
No, it's actually kinda,
But
synonyms.
memory is who we believe we were, not who we actually are.
The memory of what we did in the past is part of what shapes how we are in the present, so fuck you, Andra.
She would have a different identity now, a more peaceful existence, if she could forget what led her down this path.
Nope.
But I would lose my favorite conversation starter.
Indeed. The light flittering down from the surface seems to focus on Maneha.
You cast your troubling memories aside when you had the opportunity, and you have found the peace you sought.
It's funny. I remember feeling bad, but I don't remember why. It's like having scars for wounds you don't remember. As long as they don't reopen one day, I can live with that.
The source of those wounds is long gone. The memory was all that could do you harm.
Responsibility runs deeper in memory. There was value in the memory, despite
Even when problems have run their course, memory can be the stone that sinks you into the abyss.
I'm still not sure I agree, but no
Your
matter.
past has not overwhelmed you yet.
Why would it?
Wait, was there something else, mortal?
Why did you pull down Ione brother? You know. Let's listen at least to the other side before we judgmentally look at her and go like, bad. Bad Andra.
The great conundrum of a god is how close to become with your subjects. Too far and they lose hope. Too close and your own judgment fails.
I guess dropping a rock on their heads is one way to fix that.
Yeah, I mean, I know with no people around, you don't have to worry about that, I guess.
Civilizations are meant to ebb and flow. Allow them to persist for too long in power or knowledge, and you invite catastrophe. There was a time when we let our sympathies get the better of us. When memories were allowed to persist that should have been washed away. The other gods could not be moved to act. I did what had to be done without them.
So, you're talking about the
I
Engwithians?
speak of what is forgotten. I failed that day, but my purpose was achieved in the end. I will not dredge up the memory to satisfy idle curiosity.
Oh, come on, everything is fucking idle curiosity. So I need you to call off the eyeless then.
On the contrary, mortal, their work must continue. Far too much was uncovered while they lay dormant.
They draw attention to the very things you wish hidden. In my dreams, I have seen them swarming over the Direwood.
Those who know too much of the White Forge will be washed clean from Eora. And then the eyeless shall rest once more.
Each place. In some lone tribes of dwarfs, the forge sees visitors from all over now. The eyeless will tear the Direwood apart. It will never be forgotten. The Athenian life around you is just back and forth, agitated, restless. Basically, you're sending them out with such a broad order, and they're going to quite literally tear apart the Direwood, then they're going to go over to Red Ceres, then they're going to go to every other land.
Even if it is as you say, there is nothing that can be done.
Why?
The eyeless do not think for themselves. They have only the purpose that is given to them.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
They do not stop until the purpose is fulfilled. They will not change course now for me or anyone. I am sorry.
Koto said they could be called
Only
off.
if those they pursue are no longer a threat. The Raid Sarens were stopped before they could take the White Forge. In your case, Watcher, you are well beyond that now. And if what you say is true, then the Deerwood is as well.
I would kind of say that you're kind of responsible here, you know. This was your doing. You must
The
intervene.
interventions of gods seldom work out in anyone's favor. Our touch is too heavy. The world crumbles beneath.
Then why the fuck do you get involved in the first place and create a situation? Like, I really hate the gods.
It
I
is
do.
why we so often enlist the help of mortals.
Yeah, fuck you,
They
bitch. Really,
execute our
fuck you.
wishes with greater care.
No, really, fuck you. I'm going to tell everybody that's going
I
to
have
listen to
done
not
far
fucking
too much
pray to you.
already.
For fuck's sake, first you create a situation like this and then you're like, well, I can't help you now, you have to help yourself. Fucking hell, bitch. Ah. If you won't stop them, then I fucking will.
Your determination is commendable. But the eyeless number in the thousands. You will need more than strength or luck.
I will sacrifice every life from starboard to get Noah if need be. This is your mess, you'd better have something to offer.
I will give you what aid I can. I bade the eyeless to remain hidden when at rest. They are gathered in the hollow of a great rock, splintered from Ione brother. It lies in a flooded crater known as Kairon's Scar.
Nice.
Know too that they were built to answer the call of their master's hammer. When they hear it strike, they come to its aid.
I see.
If you were to take that piece of his hammer from here and reshape it in Abaddon's forge into a likeness of the original, you might be able to call them to you. But destroying them would be another matter. I know of one way, but only from the center of the Lion's Den. Only with their master's hammer in your service. If
Okay.
you can do all this, if you can reshape what remains of Abaddon's hammer and bring it inside their lair, I can instruct you there on what you would need to do.
It would be easier if it would be
Nothing
known.
I say will make sense until you see it for yourself, mortal.
Hmm.
We share a common purpose now. I will see you through it when the time comes.
Fine then. I will remake the hammer in the White Forge and stop the eyeless, because I don't want to
You do
die.
not be assured. They will come for you as they did for the Pargrunen.
Uneasy turbulence disturbs the calm, like an unwelcome thought.
Careful as you approach the lake. When I claimed the eyeless, I made sure they would not be discovered while they slept. Many of my most devoted followers stand watch there. They will not allow you near.
And of course you're like, not going to tell them to let you pass. No, you're just going to have to slaughter them. See? And you wonder why it's so fucking bloody bad to serve a god.
And there is something far worse. Something more fearsome and dangerous than any eyeless. Let us hope you do not attract its
What is it?
attention.
In place of an answer, a sudden surge in the current from beneath sends you hurtling upward. The zest above you approaches fast, shifting and glimmering like quicksilver. You are much soaking wet on the stone floor of their reliquary, gasping for breath. You've been holding it for hours. And of course she's not going to tell us anything. Of course not. What a bloody bitch. Recreate evidence